nothing sacred on the broadcast. Quote in the comments, chanting every line. You're tuned to the truth that you'll never find online. Come on, it's the cult of Ron and Brian. If you're in, you ain't ever going quiet. Twist that dial, let the whole world hear it. Two sharp minds and the bad influence spirit. Hey, cult of Ron and Brian. Welcome to the ride, you're inside it now.
And good evening, everybody. You are inside of episode 416 of the Cult of Ron and Brian podcast. It is Sunday night. It is 8 o'clock here on the East Coast. And I'm joined by the man who treats podcast preparation the way the Dodgers pay their players. All his work is deferred over the next 30 years, folks. Brian, how the hell are you this evening?
You know, I swore I was expecting a compliment after the first part of that sentence. Not really expecting you once again to come in with an insult. Ron, I understand that you are still the podcasting champion of this show, but I want you to know your insecurities are clear. Your fear of me is evident, and the day is going to come where you will reside once again in your rightful place as 49% owner of the show. I will have the title belt on my right, left, however you want to look at it. I will have the American flag because I am first and foremost a patriot of this country. And at that point, Ron, I'm going to assume that you will just sit in your office and cry most days.
All right. Well, I appreciate your delusions. So kudos to you.
Not delusions. Forecasts, promises. I have read the tea leaves. Nostradamus has reached out to me and said, you will once again bring that title belt into the state of New Jersey. Ron, also, you always ask me, but may I ask you?
Of course.
How are you doing?
You know, I can't complain. You know, it was a nicer weekend here in Philly adjacent than initially was forecast by the weathermen. So had a chance to be outside, soak up some of the sun, got to try out a new brewery that we've been meaning to get to. So it was very relaxing. I am ready to dive into the work week bright and early tomorrow morning. My batteries are recharged, Brian. I will do the work because the work is so important.
Mm-hmm.
Are we ready to get this show going, Brian?
Fucking do this.
All right.
Well, welcome aboard. Don't spill your brew. We've got one cup and maybe two. A mystery pour in a paper sleeve. The kind that makes the wise men grieve. Hey, drink of the week. Drink of the week. Raise it up. Let the anchors creak. Drink of the week. Drink of the week. Bottoms up for the Cult of Ron and Brian podcast.
All right. We may have gone through all of the collab beers from Other Hand and Juniors, but that doesn't mean we can't still drink the same beer. I think I was kind enough to gift you some additional beers when I gave you that the box of beers the last time you were down. And so this week, Brian, I hope you have your can as well. We are going to do the Escalante Mexican-style lager from Levante Brewing Company over in Westchester, PA. This is a light lager. It is seasoned with lime and a little bit of salt. It looks good. Brian, I have had this beer. I enjoy this beer. It is one that I would say is definitely crushable for Hot Podcaster Summer.
Hot Podcaster Summer.
So I'd like you to take the inaugural sip of this week's drink of the week and let me know what you think.
Will do. Right now, here is Escalante from our good friends over at Levante Brewing Company, which I believe, is that Westchester, PA, or is that a different town in PA?
That is Westchester, PA.
Just making sure. Here we go.
And a solid 5.2% alcohol, so a little heavier than normal, but that's the face I was expecting to see. Delicious, am I right?
Oh, Ron, I'm going to say something. When I think of beer, when I think of sitting by a pool, preferably yours, and just crushing beers, just drinking cold one after cold one after cold one, and not embarrassing myself, not doing anything wrong, but this is an utterly delicious beer. First off, it's crisp. Second off, it's you've got that little salty flavor there. Tertiarily, you've got that lime. You've got the lime flavor. This, to me, I'm going to go 5 out of 5. This is this is a perfect beer in my book.
I am happy for you then. I love this beer. You can get this on tap at some of the breweries around here, but the beer in the can is pretty good as well. For those of us that live in Pennsylvania and the District of Columbia, you can get Levante Brewing shipped direct to you. Free shipping for orders over $99.
Question, do I need to order $99 worth of Escalante, or can I order $99 worth of...
you can mix and match however you'd like, but they do not ship to New Jersey.
But you know what they do ship to is Philadelphia adjacent addresses.
Correct.
So there is nothing stopping me from placing an order, having it sent to your house, understanding that there will be leakage, I believe is the industry term, there will be leakage from that case.
I think is the term you might be looking for.
You're smart. You are a good one, Ron, because that's exactly what would take place. Basically, you'd steal my beer. Or maybe we could split an order.
Listen, I'm all about splitting those beer orders. What sucks is these anarchaic beer laws in our states across the country. Like, why should this Pennsylvania brewery not be able to ship to anyone in the contiguous 48 states? Maybe even Hawaii and Alaska.
I will tell you why, and that is because the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is such a garbage state that the rest of the nation needs to contain it as much as possible. That if this Escalante beer, this is a dangerous cerveza in the hands of the other 49 states and territories. It's dangerous. It's got to be kept inside of Pennsylvania. See, Jojo understands that Pennsylvania is garbage and you need to contain it. Janelle, is it crushable? Oh, this is a crushable beer.
100% crushable. 100% crushable.
Dave just says well.
I am glad that we both enjoy this. Let's keep it moving, though, with Beef of the Week.
Ron and Brian's Beef of the Week.
I think my favorite part of that intro is where we both kind of do that shoulder shrug, like we're ready to throw down.
Sure.
And we love each other too much to hit each other.
But what's interesting is the fact that before, we prep for the show from a half an hour before it starts. We get on, we talk about the different topics. You send me the script that you had your Claude agent generate. I know you don't like it when I go off script, but I try to stick to it as much as possible.
Don't forget the prayer circle.
Oh my God, we literally will hold hands. We go into the metaverse. You use some of the merch money to buy each of us those meta goggles or whatever the fuck you want to call it, and we go into the metaverse. We have our prayer circle in the metaverse.
Matt's there with us because he could use a little Jesus. We've often said that.
And also, there's no drugs in the metaverse, which is one area. So that's why when we know he's sober when he goes into the metaverse. However, I totally lost my train of thought. What the fuck was I talking about?
I'm not quite sure, but why don't you just kind of talk to us about what's bothering you this week?
Okay, what's bothering me, and I'm going to try and walk a fine line here because I don't want to come across jingoistic, I believe is the term that you're going to try and take it towards, but that's not it.
Okay.
I've had this complaint before. Earlier today, I had an issue, and I know you're going to sit there and say, oh, you are so elite in your ivory tower. But my Nespresso Arancino, I believe it's what it's called, the frother, the milk frother that comes with my Nespresso machine, stopped working. So I would fill it up with milk. I would, put the lid on. I would press the appropriate button. The lights would flick. and then the magnetic whisk that goes inside my milk frother would move once and then stop, and I would get blinking lights. So normally, what I would do is I would go online, I would quickly go onto Google, and I would type in Nespresso frother blinking lights. And I did.
Okay.
You know, it said to me, here are some potential problems you may have. You may have milk gunk. Ooh, I'll take that compliment. You may have milk gunk built up in the wire of your whisk. You may have a overheated unit. You may have not enough milk inside the frother. It was about 4 different ones. I checked.
Right.
None of those were true. Oh, also the base could be wet, and which preventing it from making a good connection. None of those were true. So I got frustrated. I started complaining to my lady. Keep in mind, I was making a coffee for the lady. Fans of the show know I drink my coffee black. I don't put milk in it. So when I'm frothing milk, it's because I'm making a cup of coffee for her or guests. To make a long story short, my lady, McQueen, the woman with the pillow, she said, "Why don't you call Nespresso?" And here comes my beef, is the fact that, first off, a human being answered the phone at 8:45 on a Sunday morning. So right off the bat, I'm impressed with customer service.
Yeah.
Right off I'm like, oh my God. Because I went into this call being like, this is going to be a complete fucking waste of my time on a Sunday morning. But a human being answers. What does this guy do? He literally has me go through the same steps that I pulled off of Google to see if there was a problem. He said to me, can you check the base of your machine? Is it wet? He said, can you check the whisk portion, the magnetic whisk that's inside your frother? Is it filled with milk, with dried milk and debris? He said, can you touch the unit? Does it feel like it's overheated? And keep in mind, I'm paraphrasing here because in all of these, he was implying this is what was going on. He went through all 5 of the suggestions that Google had, and you could argue it was Gemini, not Google, but I'm not going to split hairs here.
No, not at all.
The fact was, customer service offered nothing. I sat on hold for 14 minutes before he picked up the phone, finally got him on, and I'll be brutally, the guy's doing his job. This is what he is trained to do. He's trained to thank me for being a loyal customer, he'd thank me for my patience while holding, apologize that I'm having an issue with his product. But the purpose, the value add that he was bringing to the table was zero. You know what we ended up with? They offered me a $45 discount on a $130 milk frother. So it was just, I literally sat on hold.
Solution these days is they're not going to fix it. These things aren't even worth repairing.
Sure.
So they're
Correct.
just going to try and offer you what they feel is a good enough discount to get you to invest again.
But think about it. I can go on Amazon right now and buy a milk frother for literally $9.99.
Yeah.
But because
it doesn't have to be
have
the fancy Nespresso one.
Correct. So he offered me $45 a discount. And I said, okay. I gave him my credit card number and I ordered my Nespresso, which pissed me off. But that's not here nor there. It's just that customer service no longer adds value. They simply go through a decision tree that has already been predetermined. They do not apply critical thinking to it. They're just following it until they hit to a point where it's tell the customer that their item is out of warranty and that you're going to sell them a new one.
I mean, I will say Nespresso makes a damn good cup of coffee. But I would say the life expectancy of their equipment is sketchy at best.
This lasted about 4 years. So at the end of the day, I really can't complain about it. Because
here's the thing, Brian. We've been trained to accept that as okay.
Yes.
Like, well, I got 4 years out of it.
Correct.
Why, back in the day, you get yourself a good Mr. Coffee. Joey DiMaggio pushing the Mr. Coffee. The damn thing would last. My mother had the same coffee maker for 43 years.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I bet that coffee, if that coffee maker could tell stories.
So anyway,
I remember the day. I remember the little day when little Ronnie was crying in the kitchen because his toast was burnt. But Mama came in and poured herself a cup of coffee out of my carafe, and she had a good morning. Well, little Ronnie just cried into his toasties. Sorry. What?
Sorry.
Hey, Ron, I got a question for you.
Yes, my friend.
What's bothering you?
So what's bothering me this week, Brian, is the Cheltenham Township School District.
Oh.
I don't know if I'm saying Cheltenham right. I'm sure it should be Cheltenham, but we call it Cheltenham here.
Okay, but so this is going to be you complaining about children because you hate the kids. I assume that's
actually,
where we're
I'm
going.
not complaining about the children. I'm complaining about the district itself. So, we've lived in our house going on 11 years now. School taxes extremely high. Like we are close to having paid. I was Ron in Jaws with that accent. I'm sure.
Yeah, it sounded like like you were in Cape Cod with the Cheltenham.
Cheltenham.
There you go.
But anyway, we've paid almost over the years, almost six figures in school taxes to the township here. Now, listen, do we have kids? No, but we do it, Brian, because it's part of the public good. Well, these jackasses in the district have shown that they can't protect their children, Brian. This week, a grand jury came back with indictments against 4 football coaches and 6 football players relating to an abuse situation that happened last fall. So to give you a quick synopsis, something was happening with the football team. The school district didn't want to put information out. They hid behind, we want to protect the privacy of the kids and yada yada yada. They canceled the entire football season late September, early October.
Okay.
This year, before the school year ended, they said, we're going to cancel the football season again this year. But they're still not saying why. They're still not saying what happened. They're not being transparent about it. Again, this is all the while they're finding weapons in the schools. They're finding teachers sexually harassing kids, finding homeless people asleep in the school buildings. So these charges come out because they hazed this 15-year-old football player twice last year, in August and September. Students holding this kid down so that they could stomp on his genitals with their cleats on. They beat him up.
Jesus.
They attempted to sodomize him with a broomstick. And the school district kept all of this as long as they could from the parents.
Okay, I'm just going to say this. I mean, I know you sound upset, but that's exactly what you did to me when I became podcast champion the first time. You said, listen, there is going to be, if you become a podcast champion, if you want to be part of the club, I need to step on your genitals with my cleats because that's how we haze. It was, so if I find it a little hypocritical that you're going to be upset.
I would have thought this was not a topic to be made fun of, but if you are okay with broomstick sodomy, I guess. But anyway,
no, I'm not okay with it.
So as we are now seeing, she's got a good point here. You mentioned the first time you were podcast champion. Janelle points out the only time that you were podcast champion.
Wow.
It's a good one. That is a good one. So anyway,
I'm going to quote Janelle by saying, Jesus. Anyway, so you pay all this money to the school district and you're complaining that there's a lack of transparency.
Well, I'm complaining that they seem to be not able to keep these kids safe.
Okay.
On a variety of levels. It's very disappointing.
I would imagine. Oof,
would you, Brian?
Jesus.
Would you? Because you were just making light of it. You were just making fun of it.
Oh, my gosh. How dare you say that? I would never make fun of that.
All right. Next up, Brian, we've got our stories of the week. These are the stories that we grab. We try not to stomp on them, but we dress them up and we bring them here and we share them with the people. Brian, what is your story of the week this week?
My story of the week takes place in Florida, or it starts in Florida, and it references a trend that I've been seeing on social media, which is disturbing to me as a human being. And I believe it is atrocious behavior that is becoming normalized. Ron, do you have a photo of Whitney Lynn that you can please put up? I know Matt's on a bender. There we have a picture of her, what appears to be on a plane with the words typed on her phone screen of amen. And what your worst fears are exactly what is taking place here. An evangelist influencer from Florida was booted off an Alaska Airlines flight on Thursday after preaching to her fellow passengers during a takeoff delay. That is correct. Whitney Lynn filmed the bizarre scene on Alaska Airlines 708 out of Orlando in a series of Instagram videos, including the moment she was told she was apparently making crew members feel unsafe. The San Diego bound flight was delayed prior to takeoff, which is when Lynn started to preach from the aisle of the plane. I don't know if you have seen these videos on your algorithm.
I have not.
I have seen several of them. I have seen several of these videos of people on planes who have decided to stand up and evangelize, to preach the word of God. And I'm going to tell you something, Ron. If this behavior is normalized, we are going to have a problem on any flight that I get on. I will be thrown off the flight for aggressively cursing. I do not even apologize for standing up and telling one of these people to shut the fuck up and get in their seat. Quote unquote, I know we're all waiting. It's kind of frustrating, right? This wait. But I want to tell you, this is all quotes from one of the videos. I want to tell you that God's timing is perfect and God knows everything. And maybe he's sparing us from danger right now. So I want you to rest and know that Jesus Christ loves you so much that he died on the cross for your sins. I want to tell you right away that this behavior it ranks up there with right below Jeffrey Epstein's behavior, below it. I'm not comparing it to Jeffrey Epstein. Obviously, raping children, way worse. And I know just by saying the phrase raping children, we're off the algorithm. Right now, YouTube is just burying this video. We're not going to get the thousands of streams we normally do when I watch my language. But if anybody ever decides to evangelize, nope, you were wrong also. It is going to be terrible. What my behavior will become. This is unacceptable behavior, and I want anybody who is on a plane and somebody stands up and starts preaching Jesus, I want you to know something. It is okay to stand up and tell them to shut the fuck up and get in their seat.
Yeah, one thing I love about flying is when nobody talks to me. When I just get left alone. It's the greatest thing ever.
But Ron, you feel that way at home. You feel that way at home also.
I flew back and forth to Boston this past week for work. Didn't have to hear from anybody either flight. Right. Everyone kept their peace. No one. But this is annoying because you are trapped. You are trapped on the plane. You're trying to go somewhere, and like you said, this person is just kind of assaulting your eardrums with something that you're not interested in all this having. Correct.
Don't bring your religion. Do not bring your religion onto my travel, onto my air. It will be bad. It will absolutely be bad. Ron, you have over the past 7 days, what one story brought out to you what needed to be talked about?
So, Brian, we have talked in prior episodes this year about the epidemic of people pooping at concerts, and we have yet another story. This was a Saturday night metal show at the University of Otago's Union Hall. It turned into a full biohazard event when a fan lost control of his bowels into a few songs into Devilskin's set, right in the middle of the pit, Brian. Witnesses say the guy tried to, quote, shake a log down his leg, then panicked and kicked the mess further into the crowd instead of just leaving. The smell hit before anyone saw what happened, and once people clocked it, the chain reaction kicked off. One woman vomited on the pile, which triggered mass retching and copycat pukes across the floor. Singer Jenny Skoolander stopped the show to ask if someone was sick. End result, people crying, vomit in hair, feces on legs, and the bassist from the opening band bailing to the green room for free beer rather than deal with it. The band has since joked about handing out adult diapers for future shows.
Ugh. Okay, I've been to a lot of concerts.
I was going to say, you are the senior mosh pit correspondent for the
Sure.
Cult of Ron and Brian podcast. What's the worst thing that you've seen in a mosh pit?
Blood. I mean, the worst thing I've ever seen is blood. I mean, I've seen lots of fights. Never seen anybody defecate on the floor. Yeah, that's terrible. That's terrible. Everybody's complaining about the buffering, Ron. What's going on here with your internet?
I have no idea. I think we're going to have to file a complaint with StreamYard because
this is bad.
You and I talked about this prior to coming on. I reset every single thing, restarted the laptop. I don't see anything on our screen. I don't think anything on your screen. So we'll open a ticket. I'm sure that'll get something done.
Sure. Better than you opening up your pants. I mean, you tried that one time with StreamYard. We couldn't do the show for a couple of weeks.
Anywho, so let's get into the rest of the stories we have here. Brian, I know you have been following the Max Miller abuse allegations. Earlier this week, Mother Jones dropped a bombshell built off of 2,000 pages of court and police records. Representative Max Miller from Ohio, his ex-wife, Emily Marino, who happens to be the daughter of Senator Bernie Marino, accuses him of throwing hot water on her chest, holding a gun to her head, shoving her into a wall, and possibly breaking their 2-year-old daughter's collarbone. The report also dredges up a high school incident where a woman says Miller pushed her down a flight of stairs, plus a toxicology report from a car crash that showed he had MDMA and Klonopin in his system. Miller went live.
God, he must have been having such a good day. I mean, Klonopin and ecstasy. Jesus, he must have been flying. Sorry.
So he denied everything on X, saying if those accusations were true, I'd be in jail. That did not go over well with Senator Marino, who responded hours later, calling Miller a danger to his daughter, saying that he needs serious psychological help, and flatly stating that Miller should not serve in the House. Miller's counter by saying he accused his ex-father-in-law of playing politics. Democrats are pushing for a former ethics committee investigation. Formal ethics.
Yeah. Absolutely. I do get that. I mean, it's once again, once you realize just how incestuous Congress is, that this guy's father-in-law is in Congress, and they're all just killing themselves. They could all screw themselves.
Yeah. Remember when we used to have at least somewhat decent people? I don't know what's going on.
Whatever happened to Daniel Moynihan?
What
happened to
Patrick
him?
Moynihan. Well,
Patrick, you're right. You're absolutely correct.
I'm trying to pull us up on YouTube, see if I can see what everybody's talking about.
I'm not seeing any buffering on my YouTube. I've got my little laptop, my iPad screen here, and there's, as you can see, look, you can see yourself moving. I don't see any buffering, anything issues going on here. So this is.
All right. Keep an eye on it, Brian. In case,
Sure. Oh, hold on, Ron.
Everybody else's Wi-Fi.
There does seem to be a glitch here because on this one, and I'm not going to show it, but you actually just turned around, pulled your pants down, and started speaking out of your rectum. So, I mean, that's going to get us definitely pulled down. Oh, goodness. Why would you do that, Ron?
Rectum. It nearly killed him.
This is a delicious beer, by the way.
Isn't it great? I might have to get the second beer for After Dark, which I rarely do.
Absolutely.
But that's how good this beer is. Brian, we're going to go out to St. Paul, Minnesota for this next story. It is involving Mayor Kaloui Her, St. Paul's first female mayor. She's 7 months into the job, and she is under an outside firm investigation after police chief Axel Henry filed a sexual harassment complaint alleging she sent, quote, inappropriate and indeed unlawful texts to him and other city staff. Exhibit A meme of a swaddled infant with a staffer's face pasted on, captioned, when she wrapped you up in her blanket after you gave her a good wienering. There's also a Happy Wiener Wednesday text wishing she could be, quote, having a hot dog with you all. Her camp insists it's about hot dogs, not anything else. She since put out a statement saying her attempts at humor fell short.
Yeah.
Now, Brian,
It's weird.
Often,
Yes.
texted people offering free wienerings.
Sure.
Where's the thought process coming from here?
I'll tell you where. A good wienering it's a playful term. It's a joyful term. It's not a term that belongs in the workplace. People are talking heavily about the buffering and the issues. Billy's mentioned having with my camera having a dead pixel. I think I now have a dead pixel on my screen because there is a dark square on her chin that I'm thinking is a dead pixel. That because now I'm seeing black dots, not just on my camera, but now on my screen. This is unacceptable, Ron. Moving on. Let's face it. You want to have a fun workplace. You want to have a workplace where people can interact, be themselves, but you must always be cognizant that other people may not have the same sense of humor that you do. Some people may want to keep certain type of language conversations out of the workplace, and you have to be respectful of that. That's why I'm going to say, don't talk about good wienerings inside the workplace.
You keep it professional is what you do. I understand.
Sure.
And kudos to you for
Absolutely.
agreeing.
Thank you.
Because you don't always feel that way. Sometimes you walk a line.
I know, and it's hurtful. It's hurtful, Ron.
Brian, let's go up to Maine. We know that Graham Plattner, the former Democratic nominee for Senate up there, had to suspend his campaign due to multiple sexual harassment claims, and the replacement, Troy Jackson, he stepped in after Plattner dropped out. He is now facing his own scrutiny. A genealogy report from the Maine Wire found that Jackson and his longtime partner, Lana Pelletier, with whom he has 2 adult sons, are second cousins, sharing the same great-grandparents. It's legal in Maine, and reportedly not unusual in the tiny remote town of Allagash, where they're both from. The couple has referred to each other as husband and wife for years, but were apparently never legally married. Jackson's campaign didn't deny it, calling the story a shameful and desperate personal attack, and pivoted straight to Susan Collins' polling record. And there is buffering. What the hell?
Now you see the buffering?
I did see the buffering that time around.
All right. Well, I'm not seeing buffering. Oh, no, I just saw it on you. I see that. Yep. Yeah. You know what? Now I'm seeing the buffering also. Yeah. I personally, I vote that we just power through this. Those in the live chat, we apologize for StreamYard dropping the ball this week. It does. I don't think it makes sense for us to, we'll cut this out in post. But I don't think it makes sense for us to start up again. Do we agree?
No. I think we'll
this.
have to check. I mean, it may even record correctly if it's not broadcasting correctly.
I'm assuming. Yes. So they're second cousins, which means that his grandparent was her grandparent's sibling.
They share great grandparents, apparently.
Okay. I would say, in the grand scheme of things, I believe biologically, this is something that the medical community is not up in arms over. But, if you're going to have children, just be a little bit further apart on the family tree.
But could this backfire on the Republicans? Because incest is a big thing in the MAGA world. Like, they're very much into it. So wouldn't this in some ways maybe make him more electable to those on the right?
Sure. I mean, they love that shit. They love that stuff. Do they really? I mean, we talk about it jokingly, but I don't think they really do.
I mean, I would go out on a limb and say that in red states, I believe, marrying your first cousin is probably the norm, not the exception. Just my guess.
Well, I mean, the benefit of that is you have to is that there's much fewer people you have to invite to the wedding because everybody's sitting on the same side.
Very true. Very true. I was going to ask how you decide where you sit in that particular wedding chapel, but
There's no division. It's just one section, and everybody sits up front because they're all family.
all right. Brian, this past week, Trump was fighting with his own DOJ over the reflecting pool. If you remember, we spoke about someone that had been charged with vandalizing the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool. U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro just moved to drop the case against Olympic canoeist David Hearn entirely, saying new Interior Department documents show the pool's damage was actually from a botched installation, not vandalism, a total reversal from her original tremendous evidence indictment. Trump is furious about it, posting he disagrees 100%, insisting, quote, it was a pure case of vandalism, and specifically citing an 86-47 carved into the grass as proof. Interior Secretary Doug Burgum backed Trump, claiming vandals struck repeatedly, and some of it was caught on camera. It's a rare public split between Trump and one of his own appointees. If they have all of this evidence, if they have stuff on camera, why not release that to the general public?
Because it doesn't exist. It's the same thing as why they did. It's the same. I mean, it's the same thing why Trump hasn't released that health plan that he was going to put out. Remember, he had like 11,000 pages of a health plan that he was going to use to replace Obamacare. It never generated, never put out.
He talked about it at the Correspondents' Dinner too. He said it's a big, beautiful health care bill we're going to be rolling out to everybody.
Ugh, it's insanity. I think, what are we, about 40% into this term?
I think that's probably a good estimation, 35-40% in.
Listen, we got a lot of drinking left to do, people, but for those in the know, I would, based on a lot of the posts that I'm seeing, let's keep that bottle of champagne in the fridge. Keep it cold. You never know when you're going to need it.
All right. Brian, this is a follow-up from one of our stories last week where we talked about how Metro Nashville School resource officer Lisa Vidrios had to resign after her husband had found explicit photos on her phone, having an affair, and turned her in. The investigation found that Vidrios had sex with this man right here, Sergeant Stephen Holland, roughly 4 times inside Madison Middle School while kids were in the building, plus twice more in a police vehicle while on duty. Well, here's the ironic part of this story, Brian. Holland gave a nearly 3-hour podcast interview. Where was he for our show? Last year, moralizing about cops who, quote, tainted the badge, recorded while he was already under investigation for this exact thing. Both officers were stripped of police access. Holland reportedly kept his pension.
So what you're saying, Ron, is that he was having sex inside Lisa Vidrios inside of Madison Middle School.
Correct.
Ooh, that's rough. That is a lot of inside work going on here.
While preaching about others tainting the badge.
But that's just this. That is what we have spoken of and seen so often, which is the follow my word, not my deeds, that we seem to see so much on the right, which is it is expected to stand on a moral high ground, speaking about the ills of others' behavior until the hypocrisy of our own bad behavior gets exposed. Right. And then when it happens, you're like, oh, I have weakened. I'm working on my relationship with God again. He's forgiven me. And, I think now you need to respect me and my family. Meanwhile, this is just, this has become almost numbing how often something like this happens.
All right. Speaking of follow-ups, we have yet another follow-up on the J.P. Morgan alleged sex slave case. I should just save this photo just put it so that we have it
Correct.
at a moment. No, it is.
We're gonna
So
give
this
you
is
his
Shirayu Rana, again, the ex-JP Morgan banker whose lawsuit went viral for accusing his former supervisor of turning him into a sex slave. He has refiled his case yet again, this time as an 82-page federal civil rights complaint in Manhattan, adding new defendants and racial harassment claims. Rana, who is Nepali, alleges colleagues on an all-white leverage finance team called him a, quote, monkey and brown boy and joked that he should be paid in rupees. JP Morgan calls these additional claims meritless. And of course, his former supervisor has countersued him for defamation. So now he's just throwing any angle he can, it seems, against the wall.
Of course.
Try and get paid off in some way, shape, or form.
The guy's just looking for a settlement here. If it were up to me, what would I do? I would shave that chin down. Just shave it down, get a little eye surgery, maybe tighten this up a little bit so that his eyes don't look like they are AI generated, and then maybe he can go out there and get a job without people recognizing him immediately.
He's got a very elongated head.
Yes,
that's definitely the case.
This looks like he has an AI generated face. This face looks like it was like this looks like you went into AI and you said to your Claude agent, give me an Indian Mr. Potato. And it was sort of boop, 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 generating image, boop, 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 and then this came out. And Ron, I know you looked at it because you work in the hotel industry and you were like,
what was that like?
No, nothing. I remember I sent you that video about the motel owners in the industry. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah,
that was all.
Yeah. All right.
So I was trying to be clever. Try to be clever here. Trying to just, rock the boat.
There you go. Brian, we've been talking about flock cameras recently. Don't forget, folks, every flock camera has a good amount of copper and a little bit of gold in its insides. Use with that information what you will. But an investigator recently dug up new documents showing that a Texas sheriff's office really was investigating a woman for a self-managed abortion when a deputy ran her plate through Flock Safety's nationwide license plate camera network, searching over 83,000 cameras across over 6,800 agencies. The sheriff and Flock both publicly insisted after the story broke that it was just a welfare check for a missing person. New records, including the lead detective's own sworn affidavit, say otherwise. It was logged as a death investigation into a non-viable fetus, and deputies had discussed potential charges with prosecutors. Now, what is interesting, it was her boyfriend, apparently, that called the police on her, knowing that this was potentially happening. And prosecutors, surprisingly, because this is Texas after all, decided that they did not want to move forward with the claim.
That is nuts. Literally, just nuts. And once again, this just speaks to human behavior, which is simply that when you amass a huge amount of information in a single space and give only a select few people access to that information, it's going to be abused.
Right. Without a doubt.
It's going to be abused. You're going to have people that are going to access. Sorry. I just you disagree with because you disagree with me so often, and it's so rare that you're just like, oh yeah, no, that's a good point, and then we move on. Normally, I feel like I've got a battle, I've got a fight to make my point here on this show.
All right. Next up, Brian, this is the story of Richard Stevenson, age 45, who allegedly drove his 31-foot pontoon boat at roughly 80 miles per hour through a no-wake zone with a blood alcohol content around 0.236, more than double the legal driving limit, and rammed into the back of a couple smaller boat riding up and over it. The impact decapitated the 48-year-old woman on board and injured her husband. Prosecutors say witnesses warned him to slow down and he ignored them. Stevenson already had 3 prior DUIs, 3 reckless driving charges, and 4 speeding tickets on his record. A judge called him a ticking time bomb and ordered him held without bail.
Jeez.
Like, I feel like it shouldn't
Yeah.
have to get to a point where you decapitate someone
Sure.
to get your license taken away. Or be,
Agreed.
or be put away.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, this is the I don't want to say, I hate to say this, but this is the liberal prosecutors in metropolitan, liberal cities that with their prison reform and their jail reform that have made it almost impossible for our legal system to hold people who have been charged with vile crimes off the streets.
So are you blaming Mamdani for this?
I am blaming Joe Biden for this. Mamdani is just it's been terrible for New York. The city is just it's in shreds. It has been torn apart. It is burning. New York City is burning to its ground. The most recent story coming out of New York this past week is his pied-à-terre tax, where he wants to put an additional real estate tax on wealthy people who have just second homes inside New York City. How dare he go after people who are taking away what could be a useful home by a New York City family and using it as just a temporary residence when they're in town. How dare he go after the wealthy? I mean, if you are a reader of the New York Post, you understand that this tax is just going to break New York City apart. Yeah, break it apart.
Is that why you have sold your second residence in Manhattan?
Oh my God! I wish I could have.
Habitated solely.
I wish I could afford a residence in Manhattan. I mean, gosh, if I could afford a second residence in New York, I could afford another tax. Let's put it that way. Cheap fucks.
Next up, Brian, we have a Florida dad charged with murder over a leaf blower prank. This is James Westervelt, age 38. He has been indicted for first-degree murder more than 2 years after his 6-month-old son's death. He allegedly told investigators he used a leaf blower directly on the baby when the kid was just 2 months old because he, quote, thought it was funny. Doctors ultimately attributed the death to blunt head trauma from the infant being bounced. The gap between the 2024 death and this week's indictment is raising its own questions about how long this took to prosecute. Other stories also mentioning that apparently crystal meth was found in the residence.
This is a fucking Florida story if there ever was one.
Yeah.
You're telling me this guy took a leaf blower, aimed it at a 2-month-old baby because he thought it would be fun, and sat there watching the baby bounce up and down against the force of the air coming from the leaf blower, to the point where it literally it had its brain crushed. This is Florida. This is what happens in Florida, people. Anybody that sits there and says to you, the wife and I were moving to Florida because, there's no state tax. It's just, it's just a lot more of an open state, and, we can really be ourselves there. You know what? Just they're trash. They're garbage people, and good luck, good riddance to them. Because anybody that's sitting there moving to Florida, this is what they're going for. This is the type of neighbor that they want to have. Good riddance. This is somebody you want to leave your state.
And I think it just goes to show also, not everybody should have kids.
Correct. That's a good one. Not everybody should have kids.
Like maybe, and again, I don't want to argue for like a military state or anything like that, but maybe we've got a few too many freedoms. Maybe.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there. Maybe we've got a few too many freedoms.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Can I take a moment, Ron, and just speak about our Can You Beat Brian game last week on After Dark?
You sure can. Please do.
Okay. I would like to apologize to the fans of Brian. I feel like I did not bring my A game Loyal fans of After Dark, the people who have joined our Patreon, the link below here, go to cultofronandbrian.com, click the upper right-hand link where it says Become a Patreon. Join Patreon. As little as $5 a month gets you access to an extra 30 minutes of bonus material that you, each and every week, 49 weeks out of the year, we do After Dark. And basically, it is stories that, are not family friendly. YouTube won't air it. Facebook doesn't want to back it. This hour will always be free. We are always going to do at least 60 minutes of free content for the Cult of Ron and Brian. We set apart After Dark for those that want to support the show. Once a month, we do a pajama party. Our Patreons come on to the show. We play a game. Can you beat Brian? Can you beat Ron? Can you beat Brian? We alternate. Last week, I embarrassed myself. I had the lead for a period of time, but I could not hold it, which is, it's becoming a recurring theme. I lost, but I do also want to say that when we lose, society wins, because a $50 donation was made to the Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. In the name of Lou Kohler, the the lead singer of Sick of It All, passed away recently of cancer. We made a donation, $50 in his name, so society wins even when I lose. Join the Patreon, people. It's a way to help out the show.
One thing I realized after last week's show was over. I forgot to use the new intro video for Can You Beat Brian?
Oh. Do you want
Should
to play
we play
it now,
it
or do
real
we save
quick
it?
just to see what? No, let's play it.
Play
so
it.
People,
No. Let's play it.
And this way, people who aren't on the Patreon can see what they're missing.
Sure.
Brian, Brian, Brian. He's got opinions. He's got a take. Sometimes they're solid. Sometimes they're fake. Will he be right? Will he be gone? We hope he remembered to turn his mic on. Will he surprise us? Will he go too far? Only one way to see. Can you be Brian? Take your best shot. He might know everything, or maybe not. Roll the dice, give it all you've got. The challenge is, can you beat Brian? Beat Brian, beat Brian, beat Brian. It's time for Can You Beat Brian?
Ooh, that is
And
so
I think
good.
I think that may have contributed to your loss, because that intro is meant to pump you up and get you excited and get you ready to answer trivia questions. And clearly, that was a failing on my end.
The only thing that where I should have had it, yes, absolutely. Billy said, yes, we can beat Brian, and yes, we did. There you got it, Janelle. Wow. Both Billy and Janelle were victorious over me. The only thing better than that intro is the After Dark intro. Do you dare play that?
I mean, this is what we like to call a panty dropper.
In the room, pour it slow. Whispered secrets, ready to go. This is Ron and Brian After Dark. Oh yeah, spicy little stories leave a mark. Lean in closer, feel that spark. You're in the cult of Ron and Brian After Dark.
After Dark.
That is the best. That's the best thing we ever did. That is the best thing that Matt ever put together. It is utterly genius. The music is perfect. People, if you are listening to the audio, I'm going to ask you, when you go home, get on YouTube, go to 52 minutes into this episode, watch that video. It is, as Ron hyped it up when we said it, that is the panty dropper of the show. Here, even Joe just said, wow, she loves it. She loves that intro. All
right, let's plow through some of these final stories here, Brian.
We got more.
Circus Mer Circus Murcia performers Ana Daza Tavera and her husband Edwin Cuervo Rangel were doing their bow and arrow stunt. She shoots while he holds the target when she missed and caught him in the neck instead.
Ooh.
The ringmaster said it hit, quote, right at the very corner. No blood, and Rangel was airlifted to Westchester Medical Center in stable condition, and the arrow was surgically removed. The audience was evacuated mid-show. Circus owner says he's expected to make a full recovery.
Oh, geez. I mean, how many times have we watched the, videos of those daredevils where, they're throwing knives, Jesus, that is just scary that something like that can happen to you.
And then next, we've got prosecutors are seeking a year in prison and roughly a $14,000 fine for the owner of a 2 Michelin star Seoul restaurant for serving sorbet topped with dried ants, an insect not on South Korea's approved list of 10 edible bugs. Investigators say the restaurant served roughly 49,000 ants across 12,200 dishes since 2021, and that the imported ants from the U.S. and Thailand had heavy metal levels up to 55 times the legal limit for edible insects. The defense argues the chef learned the technique working in the U.S. and Europe and had no idea it was illegal in Korea, and that only 60% of the diners even opted for the ant topping. Verdict expected September 2nd. Why do people constantly think ignorance of the law means that you can't be found guilty of breaking a law?
Hold on a second, Ron. If it's illegal for me to eat a cow, or for me to eat a pig, or a chicken, or a frog, or a duck, why is it not okay for me to eat an ant? Why is society telling me that it's okay for me to eat those animals, a goose, a hen?
Apparently these ants are not on the list over in South Korea.
All right, that's
you
a
have
shame.
To respect the different culture in other countries, Brian.
Feels racist, Ron. It feels racist. By the way, Ron, I'm going to say this: you're getting even glitchy on me right now.
I tell you, I don't know what's going on here. I am everything looks good on my end, but I see it on the YouTube. It's absolutely.
Let's just let us knock out the next couple minutes. We got a couple more stories, people. Just hold it. The video is going to be fine because Ron, you're recording on your end. I'm recording on my end. When Matt puts it together, connects it with the audio that we're each recording on our laptops, it's going to be fine.
Hopefully so.
I mean, how can a podcast go when its champion has dial-up internet? This cannot continue. Ron, the people are demanding that you resign, return the belt to its rightful place, me, and then you sit there with your dial-up 14.4K internet speed.
Amid a wave of new sexual misconduct allegations against Jared Leto, 9 women total in a recent Airmail report describing encounters as teenagers. A bartender named Grace Lisa Akers has come forward with her own story from 2011. She was 25, working at the Orbit Room in Grand Rapids when Leto's band played. He invited her to his dressing room, got handsy after she declined his advances, followed her out to her car, and later bombarded her with texts, including a unsolicited near-naked shower selfie. Brian, this shot I know you sent me from your phone. Tragic behavior, I would say.
But not the first. Jared Leto has been accused of predatory behavior towards women, towards fans of his work. And I've never seen any type of consequence as a result of any of the statements of women who have stepped forward to accuse him of this inappropriate behavior. It's far from innocent. Hopefully, I'm assuming you and I are on the same page here, and we hope that he gets taken down. I think he's a fine actor, except that last movie he did was terrible. But he was good in Requiem for a Dream. I couldn't name one other thing. He was good in Dallas Buyers Club. He was good in that also. And I think his band sucks. So if he can get taken down, I would not complain.
All right. And finally, we have Kim Davis. You may remember her. She was the former county clerk who went to jail in 2015 for refusing to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples.
Sure.
Well, she is facing a new lawsuit from David Ermold and David Moore, the couple that she turned away. She owes them more than $565,000 combined in damages and attorney fees after losing her federal civil rights case and a subsequent appeal. Their attorneys say that after her mother died in early 2025, Davis inherited a half share of a $735,000 estate, and then quietly transferred roughly $394,000 in property to family members shortly after, all while telling the court under oath in a December 2025 discovery filing that she, quote, owns no property, has no interest in any property, and hasn't transferred any assets over $2,000 in the past year. Plaintiff's attorneys say they cross-checked probate and land records themselves and found the transfers happened suspiciously close to the timeline of her losing her final appeal. They're asking the court to void the transfers and hold her in contempt. Oh, man, I would love to see her go back to jail.
Oh, I would love to see. There's nothing worse than fucking hypocrisy. She's going to sit there and be like, oh, screw the gay people. But then she's going to sit there and lie and try and hide money. She can go fuck herself. I would love to see her get taken down. Sorry.
I hope they take all that money from her. I hope she...
Every penny.
Suffers.
Well, she owes it.
Yeah,
she owes that money.
Lost.
There's no...
Listen, you thought you were right, and the courts have proven multiple times that you're not. And now you owe these gentlemen a tidy sum of money. And I love the fact that their attorneys are still going after her for it.
Of course. I mean, God, I would love to see that happen. Love it. Sorry, I got excited. I know you say, keep stay calm during the show, but sometimes I just get so excited. So excited. Love to see her get ripped apart. Oh, be fun.
All right. Well, let's, I think we're about at the end of the episode here. We can go start getting ready for After Dark, as we mentioned, for our Patreon subscribers. So, Ryan, are you excited about an After Dark?
I'm so excited. I think we got some really good stories this week.
And we'll see if we can figure out yet again what the issue is with all this internet problem.
Yes, yes. Let's see it.
I
say we
Xfinity.
both restart. This time we both restart our computers.
All right. Well, let's wrap this up. Folks, thank you for joining us. We will catch you all again next week.
Takes rising, orders given. Once you're in,